better add this. When we got together, my pilot and co-pilot were 20, and they were both married. They both had their wives with them. So wherever we went, they drove their car. We went on the troop trains because they had their wives. So they were a little more cautious, a little more feet on the ground type of flying. Don't push your luck. If it was something that didn't look good, let's not take off. Let's make sure. Fight with the engineers. But don't take off with a plane that's acting up. And it paid dividends time after time because they gave us a 5% edge here and a 5% edge there and not sticking our neck out on where it could be a problem. I remember once we had a mapping trip where out of Oklahoma, we were in training there. We had old planes there too. And we flew a mission down Texas between Fort Worth and Dallas, and all of a sudden we're up at altitude and one of the engines starts throwing oil. All right, that happens. So you feather it back, and he's throwing oil. Okay, let's turn around. We're through with our map and get out of here. Let's head for home. Halfway back home, another engine on the same side running rough, props out of balance or something. You can't let it just shake. It'll shake the wing right off the airplane, so you pull that one back. Now you got 2 engines on one side, and a B-24 don't want to fly with 2 engines on one side. You want to do this. So you ease it up and pull it back, ease it up, pull it. And we're losing altitude and losing the altitude. I said, Hooper, you're not going to be able to go around. We're going to, when you were making a landing in those days, because there's so many airplanes in the vicinity, because it's a major airport, you've got to make an approach, what they call a downwind approach. If this is the runway, you want to come in this way, go down, this is downwind. You come around, and you come down on your final. Well, I said, we're not going to be able to do it. We're losing too much altitude. My calculation is that we're going to be on the ground when you get to the airport. I said, there's only one solution. Call ahead for emergency landing, crash landing, have the wreckers out, and we'll do a straight-in approach and have clear the way, get all the other airplanes out of the way. Not normally done. You got to make it sound like you got to do it because they don't always believe you. And we made a straight-in approach from 200 miles away. I was working my little fanny off because I had to get the altitude as he's losing, time it. Because if you timed it and he's down here, you can't do that. If he's too high, you can't do that. And we made a 200-mile approach. And that plane was shaking, rattling and rolling, throwing oil and everything, gasoline coming down the wing spar now. Because it also had a crazy thing about B-24 is it tend to siphon gasoline very easily. We found that out. We hit the runway right at the beginning, and he's afraid to put on the brakes because we get a spark of a blow. And we let her roll, and then finally we pulled the whip, and we stopped, and we all hit the button, all out, panic. We all jumped out. I went out through the nose wheel. They went out through the windows way up. I don't know. And the counter says, the tower says, "You get that airplane off the runway." We can't hear. We're outside already. We're waiting for something to start. They came out finally with the Jeep and said, "We're not going to move that airplane. You got too many reasons for it to blow up right in our face." They gave us a commendation after. Give it. He deserved it. Because it took a lot of guts to stay there and sit there and not bail out. Don't like bailing out of B-24s.